Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first Gigantic Community Council of 2015. I am joined by Short Bus. Wave hello, Short Bus. That's really a backwards
Hello.
wave. And then there's Patrick. And you guys are going to get a lot of feedback. That's going to be fun. So we're also joined by a bunch of friends in TeamSpeak. So I'm going to let you guys go down and say hello and say your name. And any sort of affiliation, including Matt, who's muted. I'm going to call him out all night. And we'll get started with the show. So, good evening, and we'll turn it over to Noirbot.
Hello, everyone. Tiny Noirbot. Yeah, having a good evening. Missing playing Gigantic from PAX East. I'm still on PAX withdrawal.
Wait. You went to PAX East and it hasn't happened. Share your time machine.
Time traveler.
Back to the Future all over again.
Yeah,
Oh,
PAX
man.
East was fantastic. Sorry you guys missed it.
Oh, man.
They moved it forward like 3 weeks.
Soul,
Something.
tell me about your tiny soul.
Hello, I'm Tiny Soul. Just call me Soul. Just same withdrawals. I really want to get back in the game. Other than that, just been kind of chilling. Happy to be here. Next.
Hello, I am Schmugglydorf. I don't know about these guys, but I've just kind of been doing my own thing, playing other games, kind of not really worrying too much about. I'm sad, guys. I'm really sad.
He's
I wanna
so
play
sad.
Gigantic. Where's
He
Gigantic?
cries
Why?
himself to sleep at night.
Wow, that's
But it's really looking forward to the next patch of content coming us from PAX East coming up.
I want to go to PAX.
You're not
Eric.
the only buddy.
Lovely.
Hey, I'm Eric. My gamer tag or whatever is usually Turtle Tug. I played Gigantic at PAX South. I'm from the South, so it was really awesome to see PAX come down there and get to play this awesome game. Can't wait to play it more and get to test, and we'll see how that goes.
Tim, please stop that. That's
What? I'm working out.
that's
Oh,
not
God, I
no.
gotta...
See, the best part is they can't see that on stream because the nameplate's covering up your chest.
Oh, man. Damn. Time to fix that.
Oh.
Oh,
Cameras directly at
flex,
chest.
flex.
it's just
I'm gonna imitate Thor a bunch tonight. Ugh, friendship.
That was spot on. You're missing the locks, but I like it.
yeah. You're missing the golden pearly locks. I don't know.
All right, let's move right on to J.K. Kennedy.
Hey, JK Kennedy here. Kennedy for simplicity's sake. Not associated with anybody specifically, but I'll do anything with the community. Hang out, talk, whatever, create videos, interviews, everything like that. So awesome to be here with you all again for the community council.
And he does mean anything, ladies.
Anything.
Oh my.
All right, let's see if this happens. Hey, Matt.
Yo, what up?
Ah!
My name's Matt. I'm a writer for GG Unleashed, also the content coordinator, title pending. But yeah, happy to be here.
Oh, look. Oh, she's flexing. All right. And let's turn it over to some Call Me Timber. I couldn't help.
Hello.
That was it? That was your whole intro? Hello.
that was
That was it, yeah.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
No, I mean you did it
Hello,
for me.
you
I couldn't
dogs.
sing or anything at that point. I don't know Pitbull's lines, so
I didn't know
where
that was
to go.
Pitbull.
Yeah, no, it's a song. Yeah.
I don't listen to
Pitbull
music.
and Kesha.
I don't do music.
Oh, and we forgot to have Pat introduce himself. I guess we'll just skip that.
Oh,
Go right ahead,
And done.
Pat.
Moving on.
Right.
We know who he is.
yeah. I mean, it's not.
He's
That's
a
not
thing.
What?
It's a
Just-
thing. So
Let's move on with topics here.
So I'd like to welcome everyone back. Obviously, it's been about a month and a half since we had a gigantic community council, and I think we're going to start doing them more and more, considering how low these faceplates really are. Oh my God!
I'm sorry.
Listen. We'll start putting the faceplates on the top of the things going forward. That's up here.
No one
Okay,
has
well-
foreheads.
Right. Well, we don't need foreheads. Pat's got like 6. You right. I love you. It's friendship. Flex.
Friendship.
But so we're gonna be doing
This
these
is
a
gonna
lot
be
more often.
great show already.
We're gonna get these going, and everyone is definitely invited to join us as we go forward. We just like to keep it down to about 10 or 15 people. Now everyone can only see my forehead. That's fun.
Yeah, I
Let's
didn't want
see.
to say anything. I kind of wanted to see when you were going to notice.
I just noticed. I fixed it. I'm coming back to you on the face. So we've got a couple of topics to talk about tonight. One of them is going to be fan sites specifically, because there's going to be a lot more fan sites popping up in the coming months, and some of you know that we're going to be going under an overhaul for GG Unleashed. We're trying to take it a little more serious. It's been really kind of a news site and a fan site and a fun site, but now we're going to get into a little bit more serious of a play space. So we're going to talk about fan sites in general. We're also going to talk about the PAX hype and what came out of PAX and what people are taking in or thinking about going into the next PAX, including one of our other topics, which is tournaments. And then the final topic this evening is going to be, what did I say it was going to be? Oh, the 2 new heroes, Mozo and my favorite claw arming running woman, Griselma. Pat, you're talking? You're talking, but your Verd's name not coming through.
Well, there we go. That's
Yeah,
fine.
keep your mic unmuted. So, in no particular order, let's talk about the 2 new heroes. The people who went to PAX. I think everyone here was at PAX, correct?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Well, let's hear from people who had the opportunity to play them, and hear what you guys had to say about the new heroes and what you think about their style, their artwork. It's a different type of character, I think.
Yeah,
Anybody?
I'm going to go past her and see if we can get Wolf on here because he essentially played exclusively Mozo for our team the entire time. It'd be worth getting him in here.
I think really out of anybody who played Mozo, he probably has the most experience from PAX South. But, I don't think she's actually available, unfortunately, at the moment. But I can definitely talk a little bit on her. Yes, for those who do not know, Mozo is a girl.
What?
Which, yeah, I mean,
What is this devilry?
the funniest thing that most people kind of miss about her
Girls
is
don't
that
play
both-
video games.
Well,
No,
the problem-
sir, we don't.
The problem really is there's almost no actual feminine qualities about her other than kind of her face. Like she's got that kind of cute little mischievous little kind of like childlike.
We say the same
brain.
about Patrick.
Childlike wonder.
But
that's
and then
why I
she's got this
exist.
kind of almost masculine name, Mozo, ending in that O. So a lot of people kind of mess that up. From what I
Would it change
her and
if her
from-
name was Moza?
Probably.
I think of an alcoholic
Mosey?
beverage when I hear Moza for some strange reason.
But do you
point
think
out
that the
tonight that
dynamic
Wade's
of
on
how the
Moses.
character was thought about would be more feminine if the name was Moza?
yeah,
Um,
I could see
maybe,
that.
maybe.
Yeah, probably as a feminine lady myself.
as a feminine entity.
I think she would. My problem would be I would never want that change. I think part of her perfect character creation is that she's very androgynous, and I love that about her. It's so neat.
Well, it's kind of like she's hitting that point where, like that kind of like young woman kind of phase, almost like preteen phase where they don't really care whether or not they're feminine, they're just them. And so she kind of hits at that kind of mischievous, almost childlike point. So it doesn't really matter one way or the other if she is feminine or masculine. I don't know if I was getting creepy there.
You know, I saw a topic
cool.
somewhere, and this kind of leads to the question: is there was a topic on the Reddit about skins, and one of those was gender swapping skins for different heroes, and I thought that was a really interesting kind of a concept. I'd never considered that before.
Well, a lot of games do that, and by a lot I mean League of Legends.
Really?
Like, yeah, League of Legends has a lot of skins that kind of like gender swap. Like some of the special ones, and I think some of the holiday ones do that.
Oh yeah,
I
the new Varus. Yeah,
I just
the
want to
new
see Margrave in
Oh,
a
yeah.
dress. That's all I care about.
Margrave
Yeah, I was saying,
in a
well,
dress.
Yep.
Margrave is so ambiguously gendered anyway.
Margrave is an it versus a he or she, whereas Roland and Amani both have their own defined gender.
I really want a Amani that looks like Roland skin and a Roland that looks like Amani skin.
That would be
I want
confusing.
Griselda to have Roland's shotgun. Can that be a thing?
That would just be ridiculously overpowered, and I would love it.
Oh man.
Or at the very least, Griselda's staff holding
Oh,
Roland's
there you
shotgun.
go.
She pokes her staff through the portal, and then the hand
And
shoots the
shotgun.
shotgun at someone's face.
That'd be amazing. Like she has to kill Roland though in order to take on those
Yeah,
properties.
like it has to be special just
Yep.
to murder it and just like pry it off his
Right.
body and then be like, oh, this is too heavy. I
Oh.
guess my staff can hold this.
And everybody has a cutscene when that happens. Just the game
yeah.
stops immediately and just a cutscene of her ripping off this arm.
I'll say while we're discussing completely ruining the game.
Oh god.
Did
Anyway,
Roland
back
get
to
his
our
arm
original
back at the
topic.
end? I don't
No.
know.
No,
I was
he
thinking
would.
back to the original topic.
The first time it happens, he just never has an arm again on any game ever.
That's it. It's over.
Hey guys, Thor
Oh,
has just
Bozo.
joined us, so we all need to flex in friendship.
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 Oh!
Put hammers down, man.
Bring.
I
Oh,
want to see that in the chat. I want
I
to see
have
a
a
whole bunch of
screwdriver.
hammers from
Does
the,
that
from the
count?
Thor guys.
I have a screwdriver.
So, anyways,
Here,
so
not
let's bring it back as close to the topic as we can. So we've talked
Mozo.
about Mozo.
I think we
So,
talked about
like-
like the character.
So like Mozo, like when I played her at PAX, it was it felt like a kind of like a spray and pray hero because you just kind of hold down your left mouse button and things happen. Her death ray, whatever it's called, the focus ability, probably one of the best ultimates in the game. It felt really, really kind of just fun to use, and it didn't like. Mozo, I feel is just like a fun character all around. Like you don't really have to be good to enjoy playing the character. So
Oh yeah, it's definitely true. Like she's not particularly hard to. Well, so her basic attack is essentially an enormous magical Gatling gun, which is awesome. And then all of her rest of her attacks, I admit to being completely confused about exactly what they do.
okay,
One's a-
so
But I
Oh,
played
go
her
ahead, man.
exactly once, so I have no idea what I'm talking about.
She seems like the kind of character that seems really easy. You're like, yeah, I can just pick up and play this electric rat lady, whatever. And then you play her, you're like, how do I vortex correctly? Ugh. And then you end up just having a terrible time. Was my experience with her. I was like, oh, everyone says she's so fun. I'll give her a try. And it was not okay for me. So I think there's a lot of secret greatness to her.
Yeah.
Well,
Whereas on
they-
the outside, it seems really easy.
Yeah, and they kind of pointed a lot at kind of like her individual kind of secret ways to play her. When they announced her, it was like the Friday character design panel that they did that, or even later on the tactics panel the next day, they're talking about how you could use the vortex, but then upgrade it, to be able to shoot into it, and then it'll fly in another direction towards another enemy. They were talking about that a lot, and it was so kind of interesting to hear because when they were talking about her, it's like, oh, she's this big Gatling gun character, she's this huge kind of person that just does a whole bunch of damage, but then she can also hit people around corners.
Yeah.
yeah, that the first time that I realized that when I was playing her, I was like, oh, that's really fun. Because like a lot of people like didn't expect that at PAX, so like once you like figured that out, you're able to just kind of like stand in certain places on Canyon especially. Canyon was like just really, really cool with Mozo because you're able to like really just kind of hide behind corners, and she has that blink teleportability as well, which I found that if you jump and aim up, she'll aim in the direction where your cursor is, so you won't just blink forward. So that's really, really fun. So you can blink up on a cliff, drop your vortex down, turn around, and fire things downward if they're still chasing you. So it was really kind of fun to kind of figure out the ins and outs of the hero. She's not my particular playstyle, but she's just a lot of fun.
Well, and particularly with her portal, like she's really good on Canyon because it's actually like on the one time I played her on Mistforge, like she's a real pain to get things done on Mistforge because it's hard to get. So I guess rolling back for people that haven't necessarily known what her ability is, she has this thing where she drops kind of like this big like swirling portal of doom, and if you fire her left click ability through it, there's an upgrade for it that makes it home on things. And so it's actually like on Canyon, it's really easy to drop this portal in a way that it takes up literally the entire area that you could fire through, where you could just kind of fire things through it and they randomly hit people, which is awesome. It's a lot harder on Mistforge where there's a ton more space to try to drop it in.
Yeah, I would imagine at the very least.
So, looking at this picture of Mozo, I'm really interested in what the community thinks Mozo's race is. Because it's got this kind of, and I say it, and I know it's a she, and I'm still just kind of confused on that, but it's got this three-toed kind of swirly tail, but I'm still holding a wand, and I've got pointy ears and a backpack, and I'm not sure if my head is part of my hat or my hat is part of my head.
Well, I mean, in the character design panel, they said that she was a goblin thief wand thing. So whatever race that is.
Go on thing?
Something from Madagascar, I would assume.
Oh, of course. That's
yeah.
Duh.
And
Along
I
with
mean,
those
look at
roaches.
her hands and feet even. She's got like those knobs at the joints, kind of like a frog would.
Yeah.
As well. It's kind of
Which is okay, because frogs are fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Or what are they, lemurs?
Yeah, a lot of lemurs. A lot of primates have those toes. To me, she looks very monkey-esque, very like a small nighttime monkey from Madagascar. Because you see, primates tend to have those toes, so they can stick to the trees better.
Yeah.
Tiny monkey riding on a pig, baby monkey. Oh man.
I think if it wasn't for the tail and the ears, I would definitely call her some sort of monkey thing.
Right,
but the way the tail and the
ears,
ears are
yeah.
shaped, it kind of almost points you towards this mouse sort of a thing, or a rat
Mouse
sort of a
goblin
thing.
type of kind of creature, which I
Amalgamations.
which honestly I love, because like goblins to me have always been like an interesting race. Like with like Lord of the Rings, goblins were like this like insect-like thing that could climb on walls, and it was really cool to just kind of see someone do a goblin like correctly, because a lot of goblins are like these weird like just goofy characters,
Like World of Warcraft style goblins.
Yeah. And I think Mozo kind of fits the description of kind of like in between, where she's probably has a sense of humor and a lot of mischief because she steals wands, and then we got this more serious side because she can kick some serious butt. So I think it's a good kind of in between kind of. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Goblin just because that's what they said at the character panel. So I'm going with Motiga on this one.
Well, and they were even saying that when they were designing her, she had a lot of more, there was actually a goblin kind of creature sort of in there along with it that kind of directed them along the path that they wanted to go with for her.
Right. Well, wasn't one of the variations, if I remember correctly, I took a picture of it. It was either, I think it was for Mozo or Griselma. One of the variations was like a weird, like venomous looking like snake thing. Was that for Mozo or was that for Griselma?
I think that was Griselma, because that was
Okay.
the goblin creature that's like captured the other like beasts and then would use the captured or controlled beasts as
Okay.
turrets or whatever. That was one of the iterations of her before she became who she is. But
That
what
makes it so
Thor
much
linked-
darker. Holy cow.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever want to play Mozo now.
Well, no, because that was Griselma. Griselma's the one who captured the portal beasts and put them to her will.
Oh, that sounds like my
So I could
Pathfinder
definitely see that from
character.
Griselma.
I don't know if you guys
Oh,
know
yeah.
this or not, but this is something from the character.
Is that a smartphone in your hands?
It's technically not. It's a iPod.
Oh.
It doesn't have internet capability.
Oh.
He
It's an
retains his
iTouch.
innocence.
So then let's
iTouch, whatever.
You
I
shouldn't
have
do
one
that
of
on
those.
cam though. Let's move on to talking about Griselma then. And what people think about. I didn't get the opportunity to play her.
I would say again, I think Wolf is the
did.
only person that played her aggressively on our team.
Yeah. You guys were the only one that actually used her in the tournament.
Yeah, I didn't
Well-
see anyone else play her at all.
I don't think we actually used her in the tournament, Griselma. I don't think she was used in the
No,
tournament.
no, no,
But
no.
I-
Mozo.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mozo. I thought we were talking about Griselma.
But
Well, I mean,
Wolf
we
Wolf
are.
played her in a couple practices, I think.
Yeah, we messed around with Griselma. I played her one of the matches after the tournament had gone over, and they were still like some of the computers were still available. She was a lot of fun. But she's got this weird sort of a feel to her right now. You know, she's got this kind of ability to just put down portal beasts, set up camp, and then no one can fight there, which is great. Like on Canyon,
Right.
it felt really solid.
Mhm.
But at the other map that that they had used for PAX Prime, Mistforge, I feel like that wouldn't work so well because from a lot of the footage we see of Mistforge, it's this wide open area where a lot of the fighting has been happening in this place, that place, and the other place. So it's kind of, I don't know how it's going to transition into the other map, but for at the very least Canyon, it worked so well because you could lock down the entire center point of the map and no
Yeah.
one could fight there.
Or
You,
just
like,
block
force
people
the
from
other team
running
to
into
sit
a
in their
point.
base.
Yeah, Griselma, I think, is a hero that you really have to enjoy playing. Like, if you don't enjoy just sitting there and, just kind of summoning beast and not dying, because Griselma, when I played her at South, where she was squishy as heck. One of the really cool things was her displacement ability, which it puts you underground, and I believe you can heal, if I remember correctly,
Mhm.
as you're underground, which was a really cool mechanic. What the only problem was, I found that people caught on to that, and there's like, okay, well, we'll just wait for you to come out, stun you, and then kill you. It's like
Yeah.
she doesn't have any good escape, which is, I think, obviously by
Well,
design.
Definitely, but I mean, there are of course the ways that you can upgrade her as well. One of the upgrades that you could do for the E at PAX South was you could make it so instead of just disappearing into portal at the one spot and then only popping up at that same spot, you can make it so you teleport back to a portal beast that you may have placed, farther away.
That's right.
So that was a great escape as well. But the way I had built it was so that when I was inside of the portal, all of the portal beasts around me would start attacking fanatically, just frenzy of attacks going, which really
Okay.
helped in a fight. So if I was in a bad spot with a trip on me or something, I could just dump into there, a whole bunch of damage would go out on trip, I could pop back up and kill her.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'll definitely try that. Like, she doesn't fit my playstyle at all, so I tried her out. Was like, okay, cool. This is cool, but I'm not like a sit back and just sit there player.
You're not a Donger player.
Does she run on her stick hand?
Yes, she
Yes.
does.
Her dash
It
is
goes
she like
clickety-clackety,
floats in the air and
clickety-clack.
like holds her staff. Her staff is like an enormous hand, and she like runs on it. It's
It makes you
really
think of the
It's
Addams Family.
so creepy. She by far
Well-
is the creepiest character, hands
It's-
down.
They
it's
were
really
talking
true.
about it too. They were talking about it, like apparently they were saying, oh, when we were designing, like when we had this staff idea, it's probably like this portal beast's hand that she cut off and attached to the staff or whatever.
Are
Which
they
is
trying to make
creepy
no
as
one
hell.
want to play her?
No, that makes me want to play her
Uh,
more. What are you talking about?
You
so
know,
creepy.
This
Griselma reminds
badass old
me.
lady.
She reminds me of Magic Mim from Sword in the Stone. Is
Yes!
what she pretty much reminds me of. And I
Oh
think
my
one of the Motigans actually confirmed that was like one of his inspirations on a Reddit post that the community did a while back. I'll find that while we're discussing.
Well, I was gonna say while you all were sitting there discussing Moza, I'm sitting here thinking, Kusama, where did she get all these hands from? And then I was realizing, like, you know what? I bet she used Taito's freaking arm in an experiment to create this staff and portal beasts that come out of the ground. with
That's where
ambush
his
hands.
or her Taito's
Yeah, whoever
Right.
Taito, whatever
Taito,
Taito's gender is.
right.
Taito's
Oh,
arm was
no.
cut off by Griselma and used in an experiment. That's where
Yo,
we got.
he had a
That's what I'm gonna
gross
go
arm.
with. Well, it's been altered.
I'd like
with-
to think
with-
that is just
with
how it
creepy.
looks like. Like he just had one
Taito-
freak arm. Like,
Taito's arm was freaky.
freaky.
That's why it was cut off. No, but as far as Griselma goes and her abilities and stuff, one of the things that was used on her, and then I got to see people to use and kind of nicknamed her Portal Beast to Ambush Hands. You can actually stealth them. So if you go to route and take a whole bunch of the a bunch of the portal beasts and set them so that they stealth. You'll place them. They'll go in stealth, and then someone will just be running around, and then it'll just pop up, and then it just starts shooting at them out of nowhere. So you could just be running around and be you're ambushed by these set of hams, and just like boop.
Real quick, guys, before we get too far into this conversation, I do want to point out that the chat and everything is going on. Respect the NDA. If you guys are in any way participating with Motiga, please don't talk about anything associated with the test, your participation in it, or anything relating to that. I will delete your chats and time you out for a little bit. Just not because I don't want to hear what you have to say, but because I don't know how to do it otherwise. So if somebody has a better way to get rid of a single message when someone does that, I encourage that. But remember, this is for the community and more importantly for us to have fun and a good time, but we want to make sure that we stick to any obligations that we may have. So, sorry to derail the conversation. Let's bring it back onto the walking woman, the walking hands.
And back to Griselma.
And back to the creepy woman.
But yeah, I think speaking of Griselma, somebody brought up Heimerdinger off of League of Legends. I think there are a lot of similarities. Like they're both very like position control. Like I'm gonna take this area right here, and it is now my zone, and God forbid you should ever try to come in. And I think there is a certain amount of. It'll be interesting to see how effective that is. You know, once we start having people playing on a larger scale, and see how much that plays out, because. You know, Heimerdinger works because you can kind of make your lane in like League of Legends your own little tiny domain. Same for like Venomancer and Dota. And like you get powerful, and then like you rely on your other abilities more in fights later. Griselma, like you can't really force a fight on a particular area as much in Gigantic because the maps are so much larger and not as defined.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't know.
But a lot of the time, it felt in Gigantic, even in like the tournaments, if people, had set up camp in one spot, the other team would just decide, you know what, we're not going to fight there, we're going to fight somewhere else. Our trip, or Holy Injustice at the tournament, just going deep ham mode and just backcapping, stealing power, saying, you know what, we can't fight you as a team, or we don't want to fight you as a team, but we're still going to take objectives.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a big problem for Griselma as well, in the fact that, if she sets up camp in one spot, what's stopping people from just choosing not to fight there?
Yeah, and I mean, that'll be interesting to see and going forward.
Definitely, yeah.
Do you think that characters like Mozo and Griselma fit into a pre-existing mold of other types of arena-style combat heroes or legends or deities?
I would say Mozo almost does, just because a lot of her playstyle felt, familiar from like a shooter standpoint. I mean, realistically, my shooter experience is in an old game, Command and Conquer Renegade, but even from there,
that game was
it's just like
fantastic.
just down and just laying out a ton of ammo in one direction was not, you're not a stranger to that in a lot of different shooters. So I feel like she kind of takes a lot of, cues from that, while also kind of taking, what almost every character in this game takes is cues from MOBA style, play, kit builds, as well as a lot of other sort of things, and just kind of molds it into the Gigantic style.
Well,
but Griselma, I don't know.
You know what? Griselma kind of fits the kind of like lone kind of defense style kind of FPS. Like, there's not a lot of games that really do that. Like Team Fortress 2 does that with the Engineer, and that's really the only like first-person shooter that I can like think of that like kind of does like a defense style. But even in games like Counter-Strike, Unreal Tournament, and Quake, in like certain like capture the flags and that kind of stuff, you still have people that are defenders and have like a shotgun or more Kevlar or more flashbangs than somebody else would normally. So I think she does fit that role. And let's be honest, it takes a good person to play an Engineer in Team Fortress 2 really well. Like if I played an Engineer, I'd be like, what the hell am I doing?
It takes a crafty person. I wouldn't necessarily say
makes sense.
it takes someone who can think outside of the box a little bit. Like
Yeah, I
my
agree.
favorite thing in Team Fortress as an engineer is to build the ammo crate, and then when someone comes running at it, blow it up. Because it's
See, it's a great idea. I never would have thought of
That's
that.
an excellent idea. She does feel like she needs a little more oomph. She needs more, a little, just like not
that
even a
granny
whole lot,
bash.
but she needs that Kevlar vest or something in
Yeah,
order to be
I agree.
viable. I just, she just needs a little more oomph, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Well,
Give her a
and
little
one of the-
something.
So one of the things I noticed, and I hadn't thought about Engineer from Team Fortress, but she does have the advantage that all of her like devil hand things survive after she's died and survive if she's on the other side of the map. So she can fortify one capture point and then just leave, and she doesn't have to be there, and her hands will still be defending the point.
The problem with that is I found the hands really, really easy to kill.
Oh, definitely.
Because they're
So
hands.
maybe, well, I mean, come on.
But she is able to put out an infinite number, if I'm correct.
No, I think 3 and
It's
then
3 and then 5 if you
Are they
upgrade it, yeah.
spirit
if you upgrade.
hands?
They're jazz
Oh.
hands.
So
Oh, I want that ability.
Would
now.
they become
I want
spirit
jazz
fingers?
hands.
I
Or
don't
like
know,
a
but
dance for Griselda.
but
Oh
they
man, that would be an
definitely-
awesome hero in Gigantic. Someone that has just like a giant guitar, like a bass drum, and he just runs around rocking out and killing you.
So level 80 ETC from Heroes
That's
of the Storm.
exactly what I was thinking. I was just about to say that.
I was
we need
thinking,
ETC.
what's his name from Brutal Legends, the main character from
Oh,
Brutal
yeah.
Legends. That'd be awesome.
But
Yeah.
no, I definitely think the hands need some sort of better defense or higher HP.
Well,
be-
and I feel like their low HP is almost a blessing in disguise because from what I noticed when people played against me, they would realize, oh, these hands don't have that much health, so let's just ignore them and go for the thing that controls them.
Yeah.
So I think it's
So
kind of
do
like
you
a
think,
blessing in disguise.
Do you think a better balance would make the hands less ignorable, something that you would have to kill to get to Griselda, or do you think Griselda maybe needs more health and then just leave the hands alone, and that
I
way she
think-
can at least defend herself?
She just needs a better escape, in my opinion. Because
Yeah.
like the whole going down on the ground and like,
You should
Like,
be able
it's-
to move from that spot, go underground, and maybe teleport
I'd be okay
someplace
with that.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah, like something like that I think would be pretty clever.
Or an ability to teleport to your hands.
Well, that already does that though. because
Well,
when
it
you go
does
down
that,
to the
but it's
portal, you can
random though,
upgrade
isn't it?
that.
Isn't it
Yeah.
Well,
random though?
it's whatever your nearest portal beast is, I think.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be
so-
able to
you're
like,
right on
look
top
from
of them, it
across
doesn't
the
really
map and be like, I've got a hand over there. I'm gonna pop out it, which like so that you have this bit where like you're rewarded for like not clustering all your hands in one spot. Whereas like you scatter them around, you could just keep popping out in random locations.
The idea is
Which
that there's
would-
power in numbers, though. Like that's
Yeah,
why
but
you need to
then
have all
you're-
three at the same
You're trading
point.
off battle power for like you can turn them into mobility or battle power, whichever build you want.
And she also has a kind of different versatility with it as well, because Baz was, or somebody was talking about it earlier, where you could make it so that hands are stealthed, but the other option there is to make it so that they grant vision on the map of enemies nearby them, so you can spread them out that way, and then really kind of synergize well going into the build where it teleports you to the nearest hand.
But couldn't they be like little traps too that are like sitting on the surface and then someone runs by and grabs them?
Well, yeah, definitely. That'd be
Like a
interesting.
walking-
Or you
what
could
is that,
almost do that
Evil
out
Dead?
of her trap, because she does have the trap as
Yeah,
well.
Right,
see,
but you
those
could
are
set them
all-
around the
those are
map,
also
just
traps.
random places, and just be like, I'm gonna grab your leg.
I'm gonna grab your leg.
It's a tasty leg.
I really don't want any old lady to say something like that, I'll be honest.
You haven't
I'm
lived
gonna
until
grab
something.
your
There's your ankle.
Those are some fine ankles.
Grabs teammates, yes.
Nope, we're done. Let's move right along.
What's
I-
next?
Well, we've beat that topic into submission. So let's talk about PAX hype.
PAX East hype.
PAX East hype. What? Let's speculate, and I want everyone involved, chat and otherwise. What do you guys think is going to come out of PAX East? I just feel like it's going to be. I feel like Gigantic and Motiga positioning themselves for something big. From they released 2 heroes at South. I think they're going to do the same at East. I don't know.
I hope
That
so.
would be kind of awesome if they released,
Oh my gosh,
this kind
Penguin
of Blitz of
Heroes?
Heroes.
Yes.
Penguin Heroes. Oh my god.
I would be so happy.
Well, I mean, it would fit the atmosphere, to be sure.
Yeah. But I mean,
But,
is
I mean,
that excuse the turn of phrase, but is that blowing their load, so to speak, because there's not another PAX until August after that?
Yeah, about
I think it
August,
would
early
actually be
September, yeah.
almost an intelligent way to go at that point. Considering, well, we've got this gigantic amount of, pardon the pun, this gigantic amount of time between this release of content and the next release of content. Let's release a whole bunch of it all at once. So that way we have everybody can be kind of frothing over all this content and just being able to watch. I expect a media blitz almost. I expect them to be releasing, hours of content at this PAX East, because one of the things you'll notice a lot on the Reddit and in the community is everyone's just kind of just this big Shark Tank, and every time they release a content, it's like chumming the water. They go absolutely nuts.
Yeah, they
and
want it.
everyone's
They
going
want
for
it
that
so
little
bad.
bit last scrap. Yeah. So if they did this huge media blitz here and gave out all this content for people, I think they'd be in a really great place to kind of hype it up.
The one
And
thing
then they
though,
released earlier that maybe they'd be releasing this year, so you never know how that, the release schedule is going to update at PAX as well.
if they give out too much information though, then it's going to be really good for a couple months, and then there's going to be another lull. The things that's not good for games is any type of lull. So if you could just give a big chunk, but then still be able to kind of baby feed it out throughout the remaining months until the next PAX, then I think they would be in really good shape. If they don't have enough content to do a really big pass or a really big content dump, then it would probably be good for them to show something that's really good information, but still kind of hold off just a little bit.
I would agree with that.
Someone said in chat that about the release date too.
Yeah,
That'll be interesting.
But
Don't
sorry,
forget, there's Gamescom if they decide to do that.
Yeah.
There's several other things throughout June and July before
go.
you get to August.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say, I think nerds are very a fickle bunch, and I think that the influx of information, if it is too big, you would have quite a big issue with it losing interest really quick. Everyone would be very, very, very excited, and then Tim would have a seizure on his camera. So yeah, I think that's what they have to be careful of, releasing too much, and everyone will be really excited, but again, games come and go, and we move on to the next thing. If you don't hear,
right,
eventually it would fade away, and that's the danger of doing something like that.
I think there's something to be said for doing a big dump. I think just based on the fact that the level of polish we saw at PAX South kind of looks like they're getting close to a position where they could potentially push into beta. I mean, having put in just a lot of games during PAX South, there's some bugs, sure, but I played betas that are buggier than what was played at South. I think they're close enough that we could see them going into beta.
Let's be honest here. We played normal games that have been released that are buggier than the PAX South build was. So
yeah, for sure.
I mean, I honestly think I encountered maybe 10 major issues that I was like, okay, well, this obviously needs to be fixed, and this is obviously still their testing builds and stuff. So I mean, having a game that's that freaking polished, even before we go out of alpha and into a closed beta and then into an open beta, that really should say a lot to not just people that have played it, but to outside people that are interested in the game. It's like,
but is that something the community wants? Is that flow, that alpha, that push to talk key, that alpha? You're still doing it. I'll just wait. Okay. That alpha to... Oh my god!
Luck!
Ah! I'm gonna strangle him. That was terrible.
For those who don't know, Luck has joined us. That is holy injustice.
That
You
was
were named.
completely injustice. So, did we want that flow of alpha to beta to an open beta to a soft release, or do we
yes,
want?
I do.
I see. I
No,
almost
no,
want to
no,
disagree.
Okay. So the reason, no. The reason. Fine, go.
I'm going to
No,
continue
fine.
what I'm saying, and then you can talk.
No.
So I think that it'd be better to have. I can look away from my camera. I think it'd be better to have that flow of, hey, the slate is wiped clean. Go. Not, hey, we've been playing for 3 months. Whatever the meta may be, it's already built up, and you have all this if there's a leveling system, and you have people who are playing at tier 2, tier 3 levels on day 1.
Oh, okay. So I can agree with that to an extent, but there's so many examples of why that doesn't work. If we look at a game like Heroes of the Storm, which is in alpha, and they're charging money for it, and it's stupid because you charge money, the game's already live. So, but that's
Welcome
another
to Blizzard
conversation.
Alpha.
Yeah, well, welcome to any alpha ever anymore. I mean, Smite did it, and all the other companies are starting to do it again, which is just pissing me off. But the reason that this is a good kind of line of progress is because we get to we get to see nice. We get to see the progression of the game from a small community standpoint, those of the community members that are in alpha, and then we go into closed beta, or if they just want to go right into open beta, and they let everybody in and then start testing things more. And then we go into live, and after all that's been tested, has been fixed, people have bitched on the forums, more than enough, because that's what people do, because they don't understand what a test means. So I think that they're kind of choosing the not norm in the industry right now. Oh my gosh, that's terrifying.
Like that he turned his camera off for
Yeah.
the big reveal. Like, oh yeah, also.
But I mean, it's honestly,
dear.
I'm okay with the lack of information that we have right now, because I'd rather have them fix things internally before they show it to the mass audiences for a closed and an open beta.
Right, but they can still
I-
do that
well-
and then release day 1.
Yes and no, because it's better to go through the developmental steps rather than go through something what Smite went through. And like when they released, the game was not ready to be released. When WildStar released, it was not ready to be released. When Guild Wars 2 released, it was not ready to be released. When Dota 2 released, not ready to be released. All these games I could keep listing.
Here's
over
the
and over
problem with
because
that
they
theory,
skipped
though.
steps.
I don't think that in the modern era of gaming, any game that's mass consumed or multiplayer in any fashion is ever ready for release.
Well, no,
well,
because
I mean,
go ahead.
things like Greenlight, I think, has ruined that. Like, you remember back in like 1988, a game was made, a game was out, you got what you got, and you didn't cry about it. But nowadays, you see a lot of greenlighting. You see a lot of people playing games before they're out, because that's kind of the nature of it. And the nice thing about that is there is DLC to look forward to. And I think if people could get past like, oh, this game's so glitchy, and get all mad about
Right.
it, and think, oh wow, they're gonna improve on this, I get to be part of this mass improvement. I mean, things like WildStar, you see a lot of people getting upset when it really has so much room to grow. So I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing that these games are coming out a little early, because people want speed over quality, because
Quality.
frankly, we're spoiled. We're totally
are.
spoiled.
Yeah.
At this point. And that's just kind of the evolution of games and gaming, and where it's going is, I think,
Which
that
is
direction.
okay in certain games, but I mean, like, heck, even single player games last year were just a complete controversy. Like, there was just so much crap that was just spewed out into the
We have to
gaming
work on your
industry.
word, controversy.
You be quiet. And it's just shut up. I personally am okay with Mochiga taking their time and making sure that the game is close to near perfect. And it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be a game that doesn't have issues, that doesn't have balance problems, that doesn't have bugs that they missed, or went from the test server to the live server. That's how game development works.
Right. So
But
let's
the
look at
diff-
this in a slightly different way, though.
Okay.
Okay. Look at the NFL. Okay. We're looking at Gigantic as a potential esport, right? So that's the plan. The NFL came out as it was and devolved, essentially devolved.
Well, it has devolved pretty much.
It evolved over time, and,
Too
and
soon.
rules changed, and it's just too soon. It's still right here. You know, they could have rushed it. They could have passed it. Either way, the Seahawks still didn't win. But the point is that a game is going to release. We want Gigantic to release to be the best that it can be, but there's time constraints. There's money considerations. Eventually, there
Right,
needs to be revenue. So whatever steps they need to take to get to that point, as long as it's in a state where it can be adjusted and be molded and be modified, then that's all that we can ask for. People are going to complain. People are going to bitch. People are going to moan.
Right.
A game is never truly done, especially in the competitive space.
Well, no,
Yeah, and I mean, if you look like League of Legends, it's been out since 2009. It's only been like the past 2 years tops that you see it in this competitive level. So for people to think that games can just, be out and be something like that. I'm Dota 2 even longer than that. StarCraft, it takes a while. What?
Okay, so the whole League of Legends and Dota 2 thing is a really interesting kind of like comparison, because it took Riot to really kind of get their competitive scene to be taken seriously, because they have a lot of problems and just stupid stuff because people are assholes. And then we look at Dota 2, and their biggest problem is they don't release updates quick enough, and they don't communicate with their community. Riot does a great job at communicating with their community. I don't like them as a company, and I don't like the game just because of my personal preference. But Valve has a problem with communication. But if we look at that from Motiga's standpoint, they don't have a problem with communication. They don't have a problem with telling a random person on the street, hey, come play our game. What do you think? Okay, this is what we plan to do. And then just go, here you go. I mean, hang on. It's the way they do things and the way they're honest about it that I don't have a problem with waiting until they're ready to release it for closed beta or alpha.
I want to get other people's opinions, but I have to say this. In WildStar, there was zero problem with communication early in testing. As the community grew, communication became difficult. I absolutely love the people at Motiga and have nothing but the utmost faith that they're going to have the best communication strategy in play. That doesn't mean that it's still not going to be hard for them to communicate in all of the spaces. With that in mind, let's hear from some of the other folks in the channel about what they think on this topic. We really need to move it along because we talk a lot, Pat.
Well, I can't take you seriously with that hat on, man. It's just
Get over it.
You look like a goofball.
We're gonna have to get past this.
I want to reference something you all were talking about, and you brought up Baz about the payments and making payments early on before the game's even officially released and things. And I want to look at things right now. We're looking at a 5v5 competitive PvP game. No matter what, that's what the game is. And we obviously should know that in order to get proper balance testing, in order to get a proper queue system and a proper matchmaking system, we have to have thousands of players playing in order to get that. And that's only achievable in a lot of cases through things. All these people are putting on things, and while I'm doing this, it's hard.
We're taking you serious, Kennedy. I promise.
But
All these, they have to, in order to do this, they have to go into an open beta state. And sadly, players do not stick around very long if they do not feel what they're doing is going to stay. When you have wipes, players will only play for a couple days until they've got their opinion, and then they'll wait for the next wipe and try again. And that's a very obvious thing, and it was a very obvious thing when in the early test of Heroes of the Storm, where they played for a bit and then they got tired of the build it was in. They waited for a wipe and new things to come in before they came back and played a bit more. At that state where you need constant players playing in order to get those additional systems tested, they have to make a reason for people to stay. So they do that through your account, your progression, and everything like that is now permanent. It's not going to be wiped. It's not going to be changed. And because of that, oftentimes players forget whether the game is in an open beta or launch state, because now they're playing it like it's a launch game. They're playing it with the progression being stayed. They're keeping all that information. And while, yes, it might be an open beta and it might be, they're charging before the game's even launched. Well, they have to in order to get the numbers to stay there, to get the numbers they need.
I can't agree with that at all, but that's okay.
I want to say that I know it's a different game entirely, but Warframe did something very similar in opening or basically launching way too soon, but with full communication to their player base that they know that they're releasing kind of really early. And even to this day, they've done a hell of a job in terms of communication with their player base. Like, their player base has grown significantly since they've gone to all these different platforms, and basically they have like a bi-weekly podcast that kind of just tells the ins and outs of what's going on, changes that they're making, visions for the future, and things like that. And I think that if Motiga can do something similar, even though it's a different type, if they can somehow format a stream like that, or somehow get like a newsletter out to people who are interested, and who are like, if a early beta comes out and they're able to keep that communication, at least at that level, then they can still keep the, like, everybody's voice included. And the way that Warframe did it was, even during, like, they've had overhauls of systems entirely where the game looks nothing like it used to when it first came out. But now, like, as long as they have communicated properly their intent, the player base has really kind of come together and been like, okay, we understand that things will still be changing, but it's not going to blindside us. And anytime that, like, the player base feels wrong, they're able to communicate that, and it is fairly discussed on their stream. So if Motigan can kind of do something like that, I think they'll be in a really good spot.
Yeah, I mean, and just to say, from a pure like developer standpoint, I mean, in my eyes, the difference between alpha and beta is alpha, you expect the game to be totally and horribly broken. Like, you're expecting to play a game where, like, occasionally the entire client will crash and you will not be able to play the game anymore, or occasionally you will walk forward and you will fall through the ground and die instantly for no appreciable reason, and that's alpha. Beta is, this game is mostly playable, but you might get stuck in terrain now and then, or your abilities might not fire correctly, or some people might be horrifically unbalanced as characters.
Developmentally, though, alpha is add features, add features, add features. Beta is fix bugs, fix bugs, fix bugs.
Not necessarily. Because alpha is meant to be, yes, add features, but it's also take away features, completely change, a balance. And
right, so it's not
meta or something
it's not
like that.
fix bugs. Alpha is add shit, test it. If it doesn't work, remove it. Like, unless they've changed this since I got my degree in game design, that's the way that it's supposed to go.
Unfortunately, it has changed because, I mean, if we look at how WildStar handled their development process, it went from the alpha to the closed beta, and then they just let people in, and then they launched the game with almost the same build. So I'm not sure what Motiga's actual plan is for their live build versus their beta builds and whatnot, which, just based off of seeing the progression from PAX Prime to PAX South and kind of like hearing stories about what was different from that build to this build, they're on the right path. Because when I interviewed Malcor from PAX Prime, like, a lot of the stuff that he said wasn't in what I played at PAX South. So clearly they're taking away things, or they're adding things that they feel is important and necessary, which is what you said, Tim, which alpha is, add. So beta, to me, is still where they are able to drastically change things, and that's okay to me. But I think that it's gotten so lost in beta is just a demo, and beta is just there to.
That's the community's perception of it, though. The development community itself doesn't
The
view it
development
as
community has also caught on to that, though. I mean, look at all the games that have been in beta, and they charge money. They said, "Hey, we're going to have DLC. You can buy it now. We have early access now." Like,
Well,
it's
that's not a
evolved.
change of the industry. That's a change of funding for the industry. Kickstarter is
Yeah.
a proponent to that, and that's
Yes
hey,
and no,
buy us.
but you're still paying money for a uncompleted game, and that's something that should not happen, in my personal opinion.
This goes
And
back
so-
to 1997 when Ultima Online was released, though, and new content comes out. We're still the game? Like I said 40 minutes ago, the game is never really done when it's an
Of course
online
it's not.
space.
Of course it's not. I'm not saying that it's not, but I'm saying in terms of the step process, I don't think that it's okay to do what the industry standard is right now in a game that's heavily designed for competitive play.
Right.
And that's just my opinion.
So let's get any last minute thoughts on that. I'd like to wrap this up here in about 15 minutes. Is anyone else in the channel?
I will say I really want to see the podcast Tim and Baz yell about games.
Well, we might be able to make that happen.
I would listen to that podcast.
So let's talk
It's like,
about.
no.
No. I'll have a kid in like 2 weeks. I'm not gonna have any time to yell at Baz.
Fair enough.
So we've covered 2 of the 4 topics tonight. The
We're
next
getting at it.
topic is really going to address everyone who spent time in that theater space. Gigantic tournaments, and I really want to hear from the tiny guys, because they're small, about what they thought about the tournament and the way that it flowed. And then I want to hear from Kennedy and Baz as little as possible about what happened. You talk a lot, Baz, so do I.
I know.
About what happened in that theater space, just a little bit. So let's go ahead and let's turn it over to Sol or Schmooglydorf or Nulak.
Well, from the way we experienced the tournament, from what I gathered, was vastly different to how a lot of people experienced it. I mean, we, day 1 heard about the tournament, heard it was happening, and day 2 formed a team and camped out in the theater all day to get as much practice as possible for it. And realistically, from what we heard, there were only a couple other teams who really did that, and it kind of almost showed on the first day of the tournament. But it also really showed how the tournament was set up was really kind of just crash and bash of just everyone and anybody can get in, and we'll just kind of figure it out as we go along, which was to be expected because it was a pickup tournament. It wasn't anybody who had played the game before. It wasn't anybody who had really kind of heard of Gigantic before. People just off the floor and said, "Hey, do you want to participate in our tournament? We're giving away really awesome stuff." And then they told everyone what the really awesome stuff was, and everyone came out of the woodwork. And there were issues that happened the day of the tournament. There were 16 teams who signed up. Of those 16, only 12 actually showed up, and some of those 12 didn't even actually form until the day of, like team.
Well, there were
8
like
at 9
18
a.m.
teams signed up, but like 2 of them didn't show up, and then 2 subs didn't show up also, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it was a pretty ridiculous circumstance. But what I really liked was how Motiga handled it. They said, okay, well, we're gonna do this. We're gonna fix this. Okay, so there's only 12 people here. That's fine. Those people that didn't show up, their opponents get buys into the next round. They rolled with the punches. They organized on the fly, and I definitely don't think that Ali and everyone else who was a part of that decision-making process get anywhere near as much credit as they should.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think-
It was as a tournament. It was one of I've played in rock paper scissors tournaments that were less well run than this was.
Really? Let's talk about that for just a second, though.
Let's talk about my rock paper scissors tournament.
Is that a
background.
thing?
Oh, I mean, it was just like a casual pickup thing. It was at some other event.
World champion.
Yeah. But I mean, regardless, they did a really good, the entire tournament
Just let it
structure
go.
was handled. Probably the one thing that was kind of confusing, and this is something that I've seen pop up on, people.
Are you
talking
getting
about
tickled,
PAX South.
Luck?
He always laughs. We've been over this. Mark.
Oh, he's
Like this is a team
Elmo.
issue.
Oh.
Oh,
Right.
God,
We should
no.
talk about
Tiny
push to talk
Elmo.
keys for you, though, buddy. Because it sounds like you're getting tickled.
No, I want to make. Can we record it so I can have that as my ringtone?
Can I have a tickle me tiny one?
Oh,
Stop! What the hell?
Yes.
Don't
Tickle
stop
me
that.
luck.
Don't ever stop.
But I mean, either way, like I think there were just
Oh.
the only issue that really came up during the tournament was there was some unclearness about what map we were playing. Like I know, like we showed up on in the morning of tournament day, and the spreadsheet that we got sent, the bracket we got sent was like they're all best of ones or they're all best of threes on this board, and we're like that was not what we were told. What's going on? And that
Yeah.
that got clarified within like 10-20 minutes, but yeah, otherwise it was a fantastically run tournament in very many ways.
It does kind of sound like
Yeah,
a crying woman.
It does.
I
That's
hope.
so
I hope
creepy.
I hope Griselda
think-
has that same laugh. I think Luck should do her voiceover.
Oh yes, yes. No, I
Oh,
Oh,
think
this is
with-
happening.
All right, Luck.
Yeah.
That's enough. That's enough. That's enough.
We're
That's
about
enough.
to make you a star, Luck. Don't listen to them.
Wow. We need to come up with like luck laughs. Just like this whole
Please no.
channel on luck laughs.
Like,
When
Hashtag Luck laughs.
exactly when our
Hey.
show isn't live and we don't have other things going on Twitch, there's going to be a 24-hour loop of luck laugh.
subscriber sound.
subscribers out. Yes.
Oh man.
Okay. Anyway.
Hey Thor, after here, I want to get that set up, buddy. Or at least a follower sound.
Oh please! I don't want to hear that every time someone follows.
I
man.
do.
This is why you don't
This is
you don't get
slowly
to make
derailing,
creative
guys.
decisions, Baz, because
Yeah.
it's genius.
This is high level, buddy. So what about Luck? Let's hear from your non-laughing version of how did you think the tournament went?
Well, personally, I thought the tournament went really well. It was organized. Everybody got in there really early, and we had a good blast. The first matches went well. They had them going, and then as soon as the first round of 16s finished, they let us do warm-ups because there had been some of us, me, our team Tiny, and then I know Mermaids, and then two other teams from the other half of the bottom didn't get to play. So we were able to use the press machines on the other side to warm up, and that was really, really great because we were kind of, if you think about it, if we hadn't had those games, we would have been at a disadvantage because we wouldn't have played for the whole day. So that was really nice of them to let us do. And
especially
just going
considering
off
they
of-
only had
yeah.
like a limited number of machines to run on anyway, as well as a very kind of choked time frame to be able to play in. Because I mean the entire tournament was only supposed to last until 6 p.m. and it started at 10 or in the morning. And to try and get however many games it was going to be best of threes for the semifinals and finals, plus the best of ones, plus the group of 16. All of that all together was going to be a really big kind of choked time frame. The ability for us to be able to actually go ahead and do some practice matches, some warm up scrims, on the floor. A little bit spoke of just how well Motiga was able to kind of just make the best of the situation and give everyone what they need to play at their top level, and a little bit kind of the blessings of a bad circumstance. There weren't as many people to play, so the matches ended early, and therefore we were able to practice earlier. I think going into the future for tournaments and something that we might see at the recently announced PAX East tournament is the ability to have like these separate machines during the tournament for people to practice or warm up or do scrims before the actual pickup tournament. They perform in the pickup tournament, because I mean they were saying they're going to have 60 machines at PAX East,
Mhm.
and if my count is correct, they only had like 40 at PAX South.
I think
No.
that's right.
So-
There was only 20 on the show floor.
Oh, there
Well,
was.
but including the ones in the theater.
Oh, right.
They're
20 in the show
they
Yeah.
floor,
60
20
total.
upstairs.
Yeah. So
It was
you
the
can
PAX East
imagine they'd
post
have
was
30
unclear.
downstairs, 30 upstairs, or 40 downstairs and 20 upstairs.
I honestly think
know,
that
would be
if
great.
if I remember talking about it at PAX, they'd talked about having 40 stations downstairs.
Okay.
That
yeah.
sounds really good. Because I
Sounds-
know the
They have, like,
lines
4
down there
different
got
running
really
things.
long. We actually, before we got our warm-up games on the press machines, what we did was we tried to go downstairs, and there was already a 3-hour line going.
Yeah.
So that wasn't going to work for us.
Man, I ran those
Yeah, it
lines
was
like
going to
a
be
champion.
pretty ridiculous.
It really
I
all-
remember.
a lot of this will be resolved as soon as the game isn't in, not available to common people. So I mean, like as soon as the game goes public, like then you could just like everyone whip out your laptops and practice, and this won't be like
You
an issue
commoners.
Yeah.
You commoners down there.
Well, I mean, it was really nice because Motiga thought of that ahead of time. So the practice tournament was just that, for teams to actually just practice. So it was really neat to see teams. Like the first day, no one really knew what was going on, like what the theater was for. But as soon as teams caught on, like the room was always packed. Like it wasn't like
Yeah.
that people didn't figure it out.
Well,
So,
the big thing
Oh,
was on
definitely.
Saturday, we
I-
were encouraged to tell people, hey, go upstairs. You got a group of 5
Yeah.
players. Go upstairs
Yeah.
and get your tournament on.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely. After I finished playing Friday, I pretty much used my phone to search for everything gigantic. And I ended up finding about the tournament. I just started asking everyone, hey, do you want to do this tournament? Come on, come on.
Which is, funnily enough, how Tiny actually formed. It was supposed to just be Luck, who and his brother picked up Soul and Perry, or Soul and Noir. And then we found out that Holy Injustice, who is now Luck's brother, wasn't going to be there all day Saturday because he didn't have a pass or he was feeling sick or whatever the reason was.
He just wanted
And
to
that's when
sleep.
he found, yeah, and that was when he found me and Wolfman. And we were like, hey, we're looking for a team to play on.
The happy
And
coincidence.
all 5 of us met up in the lounge upstairs and just camped the entire day. Just sat in that lounge and played and played and played and played and played.
Oh, that's so cool. I really like that. That's just a thing you can do. It's really good. Bam!
It
Instant
was-
friends. That's so great.
It was so awesome. Like I can definitely say Team Tiny feels, like a growing family, almost a growing
We're
family.
a family.
not
Where we
tiny,
can laugh
growing.
at Tiny's laugh.
That would have been a really good time for that, Luck. What?
Cry, 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 cry.
Emo? So it looks like we have a lot. I know Motiga's announced that they're going to be doing some awesome things at PAX East. Sadly, I can't be there. I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
Well,
be
you're gonna cry for other
home.
reasons because you've got bigger things happening than PAX East.
Yeah, but that's it's
Does he
her
though? Does
That's
he?
I'm just the dad. I'm not that important.
My dad is a very important person to someone. So.
You'll be so tired come PAX East.
That's why I won't be at PAX East, sadly. But anyways, with all of that in mind, let's wrap it up for the evening. I know we've gone about 10 minutes over what we normally want to do these shows for, but I am planning a bit longer of a show probably after PAX. That's going to start earlier on a Saturday actually, and proceed until people get tired of talking. Really.
which if I'm
Or
there,
get
it'd
tired of
be
my laugh.
So
a couple 4 days. So
Baz will not be invited to that particular
Oh,
event.
damn it.
Am
Not
I
be-
invited back?
yeah, absolutely. You're our mascot.
Everyone but Baz, really. Is
Oh,
what we're
okay.
thinking.
Yeah. Even
It's
Ecstasy,
gonna
who
be
I have
called
no
Not
idea who that
Baz
is.
TV show.
It's
We should see.
Not
we should
Baz.
see if we can get one of the slots during the PAX East 72 hours straight broadcast for this.
yeah. That's the hopes.
People are gonna be around.
Yep. So with that in mind, guys, I want to thank everyone from the folks here in TeamSpeak with us to the folks out there. Thank you, Don. That was very nice of you to hug it out. The OMG guys, love them to death. But I want to thank everyone who joined us tonight in TeamSpeak, and everyone who's come and gone in the Twitch chat tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad we're doing these again. It's going to be a regular thing on top of something else that we're going to let Short Bus here talk about here in just a moment. With that in mind, guys, do me a favor. If you guys want to get involved, ggunleash.com. I can say this because it's out there, and somebody questioned this. We were the first gigantic fan site ever put together. And then there was a ton of other fantastic fan sites that have come up. The Reddit, the IRC chat. Make sure you guys follow Motiga and Echo Gigantic on Twitter. Make sure you follow the guys over at Clashpoint. And just get involved in any way that you can. There's nothing... There's always a place for someone that wants to get involved in either the social media aspect, these chats, tournaments, games, PAX hype. We got Mighty Thor with us, so he's always doing awesome. If someone wouldn't mind linking the IRC chat for us, I want to thank the Team Tiny guys for coming out, guys, and we got some big things coming out with Team Tiny. So make sure you guys follow those Twitters. I'm gonna ask everybody who is in TeamSpeak to post your Twitter in IRC, or in not in IRC, but in the Twitch chat. Sorry, I've been doing this for a little bit. It's tiring.
Plug.
You've been doing it for like an hour.
Yeah.
Hey, look, he's gonna be a dad soon. All right.
I'm already a
his
dad,
back,
so he has
all
no
right?
excuse.
Poor
no
child.
excuse.
Poor child. Oh.
Don't
God.
take any dadding advice from this kid.
That guy right, where's he at compared to me? That guy over there doesn't know anything about daddying. But
Bunch of boobs.
yes, my favorite.
You go ahead.
Also, Motiga is hiring, so make sure you head over to their motiga.com/careers and check them out. And wow, now we have a bunch more followers joining into the channel. So what I want to do now is I'm going to turn this over to our friend here, Madam Timber. That's her. No, it's the dinosaur necklace lady, who's going to talk about a show that she's actually going to start doing here very, very shortly. So take it away, Timber.
Can we also talk about how dinosaurs are?
I love the fact that he just lagged during that whole thing, so nobody really knows what he said other than.
So I assume it was the worst though. So, so here's what we are planning a bi-weekly show. Starting bi-weekly, starting Mondays, where we are going to be talking about all things gigantic, and we're going to be talking, to people, and eventually get into the competitive. That is so gross, picking your teeth. I can't. John Henry Irons, I can't with picking of the teeth. So yeah, so we're gonna be talking to people, doing some things. We're gonna be talking about the stream would be our first episode, which will be coming not this Monday, but obviously but the following Monday. So yeah, check us out.
Sweet.
Awkward silence.
Oh yeah, there's a
Yeah,
push
you
to
were
talk
muted,
here.
and we were just
So
watching you.
you guys don't
Like,
read lips.
Damn, you're the host. Come on.
What
let's
up,
go.
guys? So I was talking to you guys. So that's going to be March 2nd, which is actually the week leading into PAX. So keep an eye out. We're going to probably have a pretty rigorous schedule. We're going to be on the air quite a bit that week. Just talking a lot of PAX stuff and really kind of hyping up for that Friday, Saturday, Sunday event happening in Boston. And just make sure you guys are getting involved and checking out. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight, everybody here in TeamSpeak.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
It's been fun.
Thanks for coming.
So at this point, we're going to go off the air, but I'm going to open up the TeamSpeak. Anyone that wants to join and join in the debacle of this chat, I can support up to 512 people on this TeamSpeak server. So the more the merrier. Patrick, if you wouldn't mind posting the TeamSpeak info there in the Twitch chat, since you're not doing anything. But guys, thanks so much for coming out. It's been a pleasure. We'll do this more. Join us in TeamSpeak. We'll be hanging out.
Yeah, do it.
All right. Have a great night, guys. I got to open. Where's OBS? There we go. All right. Wave bye.
I'm waving at nothing.
Oh, guys, this will be fun. Actually, hold on. Watch this.
Lukey, I beat you. Bite me.
I kicked him off the chat.
You
Oh,
did it!
oh man.
Oh, virtual high five.